So here we are, ladies and gentlemen. This is a 1960 Lonestar Coronado. I think it's similar also to the Malibu model of Lonestar. This is going to be the candidate to accept the jet ski engine. I'm not sure if we're calling this a Jetjon at this point. That's probably the closest thing it could be called, but it's not really a true John boat. However, it is a nice little aluminum boat. It's about 14.6 long, and you can see it has a V-hull on it, so that should cut through the water pretty nicely. Now the river where we're going to be running does have some rocks, so I'm hoping to be able to run pretty shallow and maybe do a little bit of protection underneath on the bottom. I also would like to stiffen up the bottom a little bit because we'll be putting about 110 horsepower in here. Previously, I think it was rated for about 40 horsepower, so we'll have to beef up the bottom of the hull for sure. We'll do that with some aluminum and weld some supports in. And also, I definitely want to make this transom across the back stronger because the engine forward back, some of the pressure is going to be on that for sure. And I want to distribute some of the loading from the weight transfer there. So this boat has some pretty neat features. Obviously the fins on the either side are quite beautiful. Looking forward to keeping them as part of the design. This will have eventually a flat deck which comes up probably to somewhere about the front of this rib, and that's going to house the engine, gas tank, maybe some other components, maybe a little bit of flotation foam, and then our seating area, our cabin will be here. And I do want to do some fishing on this, so I plan to put some EVA foam up here, maybe support that a little better. You can stand on it, but it's a little bit lightweight on the top there, so I'll be adding probably a little bit of support underneath that as well. This did previously have a steering wheel. You can see the hole for it right there on the dash. And it was set up with cables that ran down both sides and connected to an outboard engine here. Again, I think it was rated for 40 horsepower. But I'll give you a little beauty shot here of the Lonestar logo. Look at that thing. It's pretty neat, isn't it? You can get a view of that. And I have some of the other plates and so forth that go on the boat still. I'll be bolting them back in. As far as the inside, a lot of this is going to be covered up. I am going to strip and paint some of the inside, but I'm not going to go crazy with it. It's not going to be as nice of a down to the metal job as the outside. Mainly maybe the sides you might see after this is all said and done. The floor, I'll probably build a flat floor, at least in this storage area or this walking area right here, and where you're going to be seated. And I'm not sure if I like how close this bench is. There's really not a lot of knee room right here from where the seat was located before, so I might end up doing something to push that back a little bit and give a little more room there. And I want to be able to step from here up onto the top, so we'll see what we come up with for that. Now this did have a windshield at one point. We are not going to be putting that back on. It would look cool, but just for how I'm going to use the boat with some fishing, I want to keep this front open. I do have a trolling motor. I'm considering mounting that up here. I'm not sure if that's going to happen or not. We'll see if we want to put that up there. We'll start without it, and then we'll see how we do. And this is a budget build, so as far as costs, I got this boat for very cheap. Jet skis I got for very cheap. They weren't really running. The one ran a little bit, and the second one I got for parts. So I'll show you what that looks like. So here's the jet part of the equation. This is a 1997 Yamaha Wave Venture 1100. You can see there it's got triple cylinders, and it's about 110 horsepower. Here's the jet unit. So when this was whole, before it was torn apart, I did take it down to the local river here and tested it. It was only running on one cylinder, so it wasn't running very well. So I brought it back home and I rebuilt these carbs. And I did this while it was still inside the hull. And these are really difficult to get off when they're inside the hull. A lot easier to get to now. But I rebuilt that, and it's recommended that the carbs definitely be rebuilt with genuine Mikuni parts. So that's what I did. I think it was around $240 for the triple kit. And I got that back together. I also did put all new fuel in, drain the lines and so forth. And then I took it back down to the river for another test run. And boy, what a difference that made. You could really hear the difference in the engine. The octave as the second and third cylinder fired up really sounded different, had that much more power. So this should be a good power plant. Should be plenty of power for our little boat that we have. And I'm looking forward to getting that in there. Now my plan is to keep the mounting points that are on the hull right now. Maybe you can see them. They're kind of cast into the fiberglass. So I am planning to reuse them as opposed to just making new mounts inside the boat. There's a look at the mounts on the other side. And I am going to keep the exhaust. I'm going to keep the exhaust going out through the water. And I'm going to utilize this tunnel that's already in here. So basically I'll be cutting a big notch out of the back of the boat in order to mesh this then with the bottom of the boat. So that's the engine side of things. Here is our boat trailer. So I did some upgrades on that already. I'll probably do a short little video about that. And then if we look over here, this is an identical jet ski to the one that I already showed you that's cut apart. And the only thing with this one is the engine does not turn over. So it doesn't have any holes in the side or anything, but it definitely does not turn. I think the cylinders are a little bit rusted in place, and they were running salt water, you can see. But it still has lots of good parts on there that I want to keep, that we might be able to use. I pulled the Jetdrive out of that one already, and I'll be keeping any parts that might seem like they might be useful. And I will do the epoxy on the entire boat, but I will do a bottom coat. I'm thinking maybe Gator Glide on the bottom and bring it up to this chine right here, all the way up to the bow. Now the water level, I would expect to be close to the chines on the side. And then, you know, as you get closer to the front, I would expect it's probably going to be sitting in the water, you know, before it's on plane, maybe about that level. I do see a couple rock hits there from that level, so that probably is close to where it sits. And then once you're up on plane, what I'm hopeful for is that we'll have, I don't know, 6 inches or less down in the water as we're running up on plane with the jet. Because the river that we're going to be running is pretty shallow, so we're hoping for shallow running so that we can make it some neat places up the river. So we'll see how that goes.